Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast. I'm your host, Anish Gupta, and as you can see, it's just me for today. But man, what a game! And no, this is not a shot at Shrikar, who is not here today. Obviously, we know he is a Niners fan. So for those of you who are not living under a rock, Super Bowl 58 just happened, and man, it was a game. It was a good one for sure. I think for today's episode, obviously it has been a while since we've recorded. I don't believe we recorded one since the Browns lost, so luckily you guys didn't have to hear a rant about that. But yeah, I'm well recovered from it. I was able to rewatch the game, so I finally accepted that we lost. But okay, enough about my team. Obviously, let's kind of take a deep dive into this Super Bowl and kind of put the final touches on what was a really cool 2023-2024 NFL season. I'm going to start it and go really quick on this note that I have, but Kyle Shanahan chokes again. Those of you who don't know, I've been kind of riding the Anish versus the world on Kyle Shanahan. Look, he's always been a good coach. I think people are right to kind of put him in that top, five area. Absolutely got to give him credit for rebuilding this team. When he came in 2017, he won 5 straight. He's been to what now? 4 NFC championships, I believe. He's won 2, but he has also blown 10 plus point leads in what now? 4 big playoff games. The Super Bowl 51 as a member of the Falcons, the 10-point lead to the Rams, which I am still counting, even though Tart dropped the pick because on the final drive, he didn't want to max protect Aaron Donald. He also blew a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left against the Chiefs in Super Bowl 54. And then he blew a 10-point lead to the Chiefs again in Super Bowl 58. Now, look, this particular game, I think he probably gets the biggest quote unquote pass just because honestly, he did call a decent game for most of the game. There were a lot of things that didn't really go his way. The McCaffrey fumble at, I think, like the 30 something yard line. The Ray McLeod fumble, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but yeah, that also happened out of his control. The Moody ankle kick on the PAT, which again, I'll touch on in a little bit, but the fact of the matter is for like 3 straight drives, you just are not giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey in the third quarter. I mean, you're up, right? Like I believe it was 10-3 at the half. I mean, come on, like put the pedal to the metal and run the ball, right? Like run the clock down. I just feel like they got complacent. There were a couple third and longs that I thought they shouldn't have been in, right? And the 3rd and 10 that got tipped down over the middle of the field, you wouldn't have had to do that. I mean, the Chiefs knew you were going to take deep drops with Brock Purdy just because you didn't run the ball. So, just a weird, iffy game that again he's just been a part of so many different times. This has been a key staple of his. Why aren't you running the ball? I feel like in every loss he's had, even this year, it's been the same kind of story. So just a quick touch on that. I'll again obviously deep dive in a little bit into it more, but I did want to talk about that. Next, let's just talk about it, man. Steve Spagnuolo, holy crap, dude! Like, so he has now won 3 Super Bowls with the Chiefs, right? He has won a Super Bowl as a DC with the Giants, beating the Pats. I think I'm gonna probably stand on the table for him. I think he's the greatest defensive coordinator ever. I mean, like what he was able to do in this Super Bowl was just so great. I mean, like you're taking a bunch of second year players, first year players last year. You won the bowl, that year, but this year too. I mean, that 3rd and 4 blitz, right? Like that's the most important, play of the game. You don't get that, and I think the Niners win this game, right? But the way he moved McDuffie into the slot and just blitzed him like that, plugging up literally in between the B and the A gap as a nickel corner is just absurd. I mean, like, and the fact that he got in untouched was just great execution. A lot of adjustments that he kind of made. I mean, honestly, he didn't have to make too many in the run game because Kyle kind of refused to do it, but I mean, hats off to what he called. Like that was some really good play calling. I mean, every like key third down that you felt the Niners would get, they didn't, and that kept the Chiefs in it. Like Mahomes got plenty of opportunities because the defense kept them in this game. I mean, obviously you were kind of waiting for one, right, for him to kind of do it, but I mean, really, like bunch of times where it would just be like, the Pacheco fumble or like the Chiefs were, down and out, like in their own territory, punting it to the Niners. And it just seemed like, when the Niners could have capitalized, they didn't because Spagnuolo was calling a hell of a defense. So that was really good. I was really impressed by it. Ayuk was what, 49 yards, Jawan 42, Debo 30 something. Like no one even hit 50. Really great defensive schemes by Spags. And he, mixed up man, he mixed up zone. I liked it, right? A little bit of bracketed and a little bit of shell. Great calls all around. Now I'm going to kind of get into the key moments of the game. I already talked a little bit about the McCaffrey and Pacheco fumbles, but just like both of them had, where they were in the plus territory and they let it go. I wanted to touch on the Pacheco one because I think it was a little worse. I mean, the throw that Mahomes made to get them there, right? He rolls to his left. I'll probably put it up maybe, but he rolls to his left. He throws it like, mind you, Deshaun Gibson, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Like you'll watch it and you'll see like he's just like literally roaming and lurking, not doing anything. But to throw that, right? It was a disguised cover two. Deshaun's running back to it. And he fits it in like perfectly. This is like 55 air yards probably. Maybe I'm gassing it too much. I didn't see the exact spot he threw it from, but this was a dot. Like this throw was really great. And right after that, it's first and goal, and Pacheco, who's a pretty strong runner, just lets it go. That was a drive killer. I thought, that was, could possibly have been a huge momentum swing, but just wanted to touch on that. Next, I'm going to talk about the Dre Greenlaw injury. I talked about it actually with a couple friends over the last, couple hours because it's the Super Bowl. Let's break down everything. Obviously they just gotten a stop, or sorry, the Chiefs were just about to come on, so they were just about to go. He like hops and then he takes a step back with his left foot, and then obviously it snaps. Obviously most people who watch football, or a lot of guys that, who watch this game close know, right? Like that looked like an Achilles tear right away. And, the truth of the matter of those ones is just like, it's a lot of wear and tear on it, right? I don't think like that specific action was the reason it was the cause. I think it's just kind of a gradual accumulation of putting weight on that Achilles heel and it, just kind of snapping. But I guess to talk about the extent of it, right? That was a brutal loss. I think if Dre Greenlaw is there, they win that game. Fred really wasn't having that great of a game. I think they were getting torched over the middle, right? Like number 48, I'm forgetting, it's like Oren something, but their strong side linebacker was getting torched. They had to move him, right? They had to move him kind of on the other side or roam him around a little bit more. And on the touchdown to MVS, they were running a one robber, and it's his job to sit back, right? And he didn't. And he literally does not move. Like he moves like way too late, and Mahomes like, okay, I'm just gonna throw it right there to MVS when he's supposed to sit back and actually lurk, right? And honestly, if he had maybe done his job a little bit earlier, that could have been a pick. But Mahomes just had to sit, maybe lofted over him, and boom, that was a touchdown. So yeah, Dre Greenlaw was all over the place. He was tackling everywhere. He obviously was dealing a little bit with the upper body injury from previous games. So I think he had a stinger, but kudos to, what he was able to do. And just, it sucks for him to have this injury because two things, right? Like now you just don't know when he's going to come back. Achilles, usually the timeline is around 12 months, but we've seen the way, things have been going with like Aaron Rodgers, Steelbridge stuff. So we'll see how early he gets back. But this gives the Niners leverage. Obviously now they can probably get him on a cheaper deal. Like he was supposed to really get paid, man. This was probably a guy who could have gotten 4 years, hovering around that 15 plus mil annually. And now we're just going to kind of have to wait and see. But yeah, I think that was probably just the worst thing that could have happened to the Niners. He's such a great off-ball linebacker, so flies to the ball. He's a great compliment to Fred. And it's ironic because he was better in coverage than Fred was that game. So just a tough loss. Let's go next to the Ray McCloud fumble. Look, it's super hard in real time. I think people don't realize like it barely touched the other guy's foot, right? So like he's trying to react in real time where the ball is kind of going because obviously he's trying to play it dead, right? But I guess the guy, didn't, I think it was number 28, didn't see it, right? And it just kind of bounced off the side of his foot. And then once that happens, it's a live ball. So he's like just chasing it, right? I'm sure Niners fans are kind of getting Kyle Williams vibes from that. If you know, you know. But Yeah, I mean, immediately after that happened, right? They were down 6-10. Boom, one play later, Chiefs take the lead. So you never know, right? I mean, the Niners were stopping them pretty well, and that's how they got their first touchdown of the game. So that was a pretty key one. Just a tough one, man. I think that was probably the one play you could say, okay, was like luck, right? Like a little bit of just like, yeah, I mean, what can you do? Next one, Moody's kick via like, they're calling it the ankle kick, the PAT. I mean, yes, right? Like, sure, obviously it makes it a 4-point game versus a 3-point game. So, yes, obviously, point wise, there is a little bit of that swing. But look, I mean, Moody was a wild card all season. Like, he missed against the Browns to lose it, right? He missed a couple in the Rams game. That's when people got scared. I think he missed a kick against the Packers. So, he was very iffy, right? But one thing was for sure, when they needed him, I guess, on the field goals, he still hit. Like he hit a 55-er, a 53, right? Like he was there for them this game. I'm not gonna put this on him. I don't like he was there for them. I think he hit 3 field goals, if I'm not mistaken. So, kudos to him for at least keeping him kind of afloat in that regard. Now I'm going to talk about this. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this, so I really did want to talk about this. So Travis Kelce runs out of bounds, right? They put an extra second back, so it's 10 seconds left. And this is I'll set the stage. It's the final like 2 plays of the game, right? Of the regular time before overtime, right? The Chiefs are down 3. It's 16-19 with 10 seconds left, right? So here's how you think about this. Like you're trying to get at least 2 plays. If you can get 3, that's awesome, right? So Mahomes drops back. I think they throw some sort of wheel route, right? The problem is he misses it, right? And it was 6 seconds left, not 7. So they had 6 seconds with a timeout. If they had had 7 seconds left, they would have actually gone for a play there to win it, not just kick, because everyone knows who's in, any type of football, like they know it's 6 seconds to run a play, right? So if it was 7 seconds, they would have actually shot for it. And I think they would have gotten it if we're being honest, but no hypotheticals. They won the game anyway, but I just wanted to throw that out there, right? A little bit of iffy time management there, right? If you're Mahomes, you want to try and throw that a little bit down, right? You don't want to put too much air on the ball. So 6 seconds left versus 7 seconds. That's the reason why they kicked it instead of trying to go for it, in case anyone was wondering, because they had the timeout. But no, that was kind of the reason. Next, I'm just kind of going through all the plays here. But yeah, deferring the coin toss. So I'm seeing that the Niners player saying they didn't know the rules. I think that's absolute BS. Like, look, I mean, we casual fans knew it for the last 2 years, right? And this was the first game it obviously was in play. And everyone knows that, the regular overtime rules would have stood anyway, right? Like they got 3, Chiefs got 7, they won. But I don't understand, so they're saying that they, deferred it, they didn't know the rule, or they took the ball, they didn't know the rules, right? And everyone was saying why they didn't defer is because they're gassed. Like the defense was tired and they were getting, kind of dismantled on that last drive. I completely disagree, by the way. Maybe I'm alone on this, and people aren't really going to talk about this, but why the hell wouldn't you defer? I like, okay, if I've been on sidelines now, so I kind of know how, coordinators and defensive coaches are talking to their players. You're telling me you as a defensive coach wouldn't want to rile your players up and tell them, hey, 3 plays, that's it. You get them off for 3 plays, right? They can't go for it on 4th down. You get them for 3 plays. 3 plays. You've worked all year for this. 3 plays, and you get the ball back with a chance to do whatever you want. You get all the momentum, and you get the entire control of the game, right? I get it, right? Their offense is great, and Kyle Shanahan is a great play caller, right? But if I'm in that situation, I want my defense to go out there, get a stop, and then I can do whatever I want, right? Versus, okay, now if we don't score, then the entire pressure is on our defense, right? And again, who had just been gashed, but I just got to send them out there for 3 plays. The rest thing, they had 5 minutes, right? They had some time. I don't think like you're an NFL player. You can go out there after, 5 minutes and still get a stop. So I really think deferring or not deferring there was a mistake. I would have 100% done that. And I think the Chiefs would have done it too. If they had gotten the coin toss win, they would have deferred it, I think. just a bad decision. So, and that transitions me into the next thing. So the 4th and 1, right, where Mahomes scrambles and gets the first down, was like 3 yards or something, right? They wouldn't have gone for it, because if they had gotten the ball first, right, it was 4th and 1 at their own like 30 or something. You have to punt there, because if you don't get it, it's the game. So like the Niners did what they were gonna do. They got the 3 plays. But anyway, 4th and 1, right? And this is gonna also touch on the final play of the game. The Chiefs do this all the time. Andy Reid does this all the time. I don't know why more teams don't adopt this. I mean, hey, Kevin Stefanski, if you're listening to me, like, please do this. He just rolls. They go in gun. They just roll right, and it's so OP. Like, their offensive line don't push forward, so it's no illegal man downfield. They just all shift right, and Mahomes, all he has to do is just scamper a little bit, and he does this incredible, like, it was like an incredible kind of fake, and he just literally just like scoots in for like 3 yards, right? And it was such a big play. Obviously, everyone's like super high energy on that. You don't get that, it's over, right? Like, they were down 3, so that was the game. But they do this all the time. I mean, this is the exact play um, that they did to the Browns, like the same concept to like win a playoff. They do this all the time. And then the final play of the game, Tony Romo was obviously glazing it, but and you know what? I would have kind of done the same, because it's the same thing they do so effectively. It's the fake motion, and then they zip it right. And Mahomes, all he has to do is scramble. He gets 2 guys to jump in, and boom, he just floats it over. That's all they did. And Charvarius Ward, I think it was him at fault. He bites on the tight end kind of moving up. And what you're supposed to do there is you're supposed to kind of play it, right? Notice the tight end's coming in. You have linebacker help. You're the outside corner. So you're kind of zip in when he's motioning, right? He's motioning in, you zip in. Then as soon as the tight end makes the break, the linebacker can get there. You have to zip outside, and he didn't. And Hardman was wide open. So that was just clearly, Steve Wilks getting outclassed by Andy Reid. That's, I guess, how you put it. So, man, I mean, it's just like, I hope people who are watching this, obviously most fans are just kind of tuning in for this to be a fun event, but the ins and outs and the X's and O's that went down on those plays just during the game was phenomenal. I think it was just really great. And this also transitions to my final point. It's not really a big one, but I wrote it down. Andy Reid just outclassed the hell out of Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks literally only wanted to run man coverage. I swear, for like the entire second half. What are you doing? Like, switch it up, disguise it. I mean, the DBs were turned, and the scamper that Mahomes had on 3rd and 1 was because they were in man. I'm telling you, if any linebacker, any slot corner that they had covering on that play turned around or was facing forward, he does not get like 23 yards on that, QB draw. But instead, he gets it, and then the Chiefs were in prime position. I mean, I think once they got there, even the Niners players were kind of devastated. Like, they knew they were just getting pushed around. But those were my key takeaways. I'll kind of wrap it up in just a broad kind of sense, just because I kind of went a little crazy there, rambling, but hopefully you guys like paused it or took in everything I said. But this will be my final touch on the 2023 season. Honestly, it was one of my favorites. I guess as a Browns fan, right, it was like made the playoffs, so it was really cool. It was weird for offense, right? Like, offense really just didn't have a great year, I think, which is why obviously the MVP race really came down to the end, which was kind of cool to see. Lamar kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. Like, he came around like the start of November, end of November, but that was super cool. The playoffs were great. We had some really great games. And the Chiefs won it, man, despite the worst offensive personnel, skill position wise, Mahomes has ever had. His offensive line, yeah, it was kind of up and down. Best defense he's had, though. And man, I mean, they went back to back. I really didn't think that a team was going to do back to back for a long time. I mean, it was 20 years. It was literally the year I was born that they did it. So, I mean, just crazy to think about. It's been done, and they have a real shot to three-peat. I think everybody knows that, because they can only get better. I don't think they'll retain most of their core guys. Most of their guys anyway are young on defense, and their wide receiver core can only get better. So this was a hell of a year, man. Obviously, thank you guys for watching all our videos. Definitely a goal of ours, I guess, in 2024 is to be more consistent, and I'm gonna try and do that for you guys. But yeah, all right. You thought this was the end? No. 2023, 2024, let's move it to the side. 2024-25 is here. And that means everyone's got a clean slate. Everybody is 0-0. And I'm going to start it off just with a little topic I wanted to talk on, just because I want to kind of look back on this maybe a year from now and see, how well I did. Um, it's basically going to be who should the Chiefs fear the most out of the AFC and who should the Niners fear most out of the NFC. I will start with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs obviously should be the favorites. Again, as I just mentioned, as I rambled, but they can only get better. But I mentioned 5 teams on this list that I think can dethrone them or that they should be just wary of. And I think these are the 5 teams that could be dark horses in the AFC or, even represent them in Super Bowl 59. I'll start off with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll try and keep these short, but yeah, the Bengals, we know why. Joe Burrow's coming back. Their defense was a little inconsistent, honestly. They might lose T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Their safeties need to get better. Jordan Battle's good, but Joe Burrow. I think that's all I really need to say. He's the only one who's beaten him in the playoffs that's active in the league, so I'm just going to say that. Next is the Texans. I think the Texans should be on the radar just because they're only going to get better. D'Amico and CJ is a great combo. Bobby Slowick's coming back for another year, and I think he's a great coordinator. Tank Dell's going to come back. I think they're going to improve that run game. Dameon Pierce was not good. Devin Singletary had a great second half of the year, but there's a lot of running backs better than Devin Singletary. So maybe if they get Saquon, this is an early one, but obviously Houston. Next one, you guys are going to call me biased, but I'm going to throw the Browns out there. Look, they were 5-1 with Deshaun as a starter. They never really played a full slate healthy, but they were in every game. It felt like that, at least they didn't have fifth stringers playing in. And, this is a great coaching staff. Jim Schwartz is coming back. I think the defense will get a little bit better. Offense has to be. I mean, you were playing with fifth string linemen, so hopefully Nick Chubb bounces back. But yeah, I would just be wary of the Browns. I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to keep them in there. They were honestly the second best team in the AFC in the regular season. So I'm going to stand on that and put them in there. The next one is the Colts. I'm going to push this early. I'm big on the Colts. Very big on the Colts. Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen is going to be my agenda coming up for this season. I think they're going to be so special. Like, I was so heartbroken when they didn't make the playoffs. I think Shane Steichen's a hell of a coach, and their defense will only get better. It feels like I'm saying that with everyone, but the Colts are definitely a team to be fearful of. They need to get that wide receiver too right. I think Alec Pierce just really didn't thrive, despite kind of having, thoughts of a breakout. Just I think you need to get that better. But Michael Pittman's a stud. JT Zach Moss combo was great. O-line's been playing really good. Colts, watch out. And then the final one is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everyone's going to call me biased, but look, they were a Trevor Lawrence ankle injury away from being the 1 or 2 seed. They were the 1 seed. Walker Little sits on him. They lose what was it? I think they were 8-3, so they lost. They went 1-6 or 1-5 in their final 6. They will be back. Their wide receivers will be better. And that AFC South is going to be so fun. I think I only have AFC South and AFC North teams. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Bills, defense is getting up there in age, and I don't know what's going to happen with Stephon Diggs. So I didn't want to throw the Bills in there. The Dolphins, just iffy. But those were the 5. And then as for the NFC, for the SF Niners, they should easily be the favorites. This is their last year though, because they're gonna have to pay Purdy. So this is their I guess last best chance to do it. They'll keep pretty much all their core. They'll lose. Here's what they'll do. They'll lose 2 of Jawan Jennings, Chase Young, and Dre Greenlaw. And honestly, I think they can afford to do that. They'll be fine. But as I put 3 teams for them. One is the Green Bay Packers. I think everyone knows that. That's obvious. You saw what they did this year. Matt LaFleur, hell of a coach. Jordan Love is a stud. And all their young guys balled out. They were the 4th youngest team to ever make the playoffs. So that just goes to tell you what they did. They hung up 48 on the road for most of their guys' first ever playoff game. Hats off to them. The next one is the Detroit Lions. Again, pretty obvious one, right? Like they were just in the NFC Championship. They should have been representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. Dan Campbell got a little bit too aggressive in that fourth quarter, and just wish-washy plays kept him out of it. But this is a good core, good offense. Ben Johnson's coming back. This is a team, obviously, you got to fear. Last one, I'm still going to keep him in there. You may call me biased, but it's the LA Rams. They've still got that core. Stafford's obviously getting up in age, but it's Sean McVay. I will always ride with Sean McVay. That defense is young. They played pretty well down the stretch. They'll get better. And I think they finally have a first round pick for the first time in 7 years, I want to say. I don't think Sean McVay's ever had a first round pick. So let's see what they do. They've hit on their day threes, day twos. So let's see. Let's see what they do. But I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. I honestly, not too long of a video. It was just me, so it was mostly me talking. But let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this. It was just kind of a little experiment. Haven't done one of these solo vids in a while, but just stay tuned for 2024, man. I'm gonna try and do a little bit more for you guys. I obviously love breaking down film, and it's obviously something that I like to do. Just don't have a lot of time to do it, but if I can, I will. And that was a wrap on 2023, 2024. Let's do it. Let's move on to the 2024 NFL season, and hopefully you guys stick with us the rest of the way. Thank you guys so much for watching. We've been the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast, and we will see you guys next time.